Deep in the heart of the arid African desert, a natural miracle suddenly emerges. Hundreds of kilometers to the north, the Okavango River flows not into the sea, but into wet sand. But it is there that a maze of flooded water, reeds and mud becomes Botswana's living world. This is the Okavango Delta, not just a splendid paradise, but a fierce survival stage where Africa's most dangerous creatures fight for survival every second. Majestic hippos, ruthless wild dogs, cunning otters, and predators lurking in the shadows. All join in a fiery dance of mud and flooded water. And now, let's explore the continent's most pristine wilderness, where any mistake, no matter how small, can cost you your life. Welcome to the Okavango Delta, Botswana's wild jewel. When the flood season arrives, the Okavango Delta transforms. The once parched land is flooded, and from the muddy water, lush vegetation begins to rise like a miracle of nature. For grazers, this is a golden time. Young grasses, sedges, and aquatic plants grow densely, creating a bountiful banquet in the middle of the sea of water. But nature never gives rewards easily. The best grasses are often deep in the floodplain, cut by deep channels and ditches so wide that even elephants hesitate. The Lechwe are masters at conquering this challenge. Possessing long, wide hoofs like oars, they do not sink into the mud, but rather slide across the surface of the water. Their dense, waterproof fur keeps them warm even when they have to wade through cold water all day. They live half underwater, half on land, creatures of two worlds. Hundreds of Lechwe enter the deep water, quietly jostling among the marshy grass, their heads bowed, munching on tufts of young grass. Peace reigns on the water's surface, but only temporarily. For the Okavango is never a complete paradise. In the shadows of the reeds, something moves. It makes no sound, it makes no waves, but it watches patiently and precisely. For Lechwe, a good swimmer can save them, but here, every skill has its limits. When the opponent knows how to overcome even that advantage. Hidden in the shade of dense bushes, a group of hunters waits quietly. No noise, no attention, but each step carries chilling precision. African wild dogs are not solitary animals, but a group that is as close as blood. They move like a perfectly programmed biological machine. Each individual knows his role, and every action serves a single strategy: to dominate the hunt. In deep water, the Lechwe have the advantage. With their long legs and flat hooves, they can swim and run across mudflats at incredible speeds. But once they leave the water, all that advantage disappears. On land, wild dogs are tireless marathon runners. They do not rush. They do not charge immediately. Instead, they disperse, forcing the herd into a split. Weaker, older, or simply a beat behind, individuals will be separated from the pack like a small crack in a large rock, and that is when the attack is launched. No need for an immediate fatal bite. They cling, wear down, persevere, and when the prey is tired, the whole pack will join forces and take it down in a matter of minutes. What is most special is not the hunting skills. It is the way they share the results. There is no competition. No strong person gets more. Every member, young or old, gets a share. Even latecomers are given a place. It is a team spirit that is almost unique in the wild, where almost everything is decided by strength and position. In the heart of the OKAVANGO, where every creature must fight every day to survive, the African wild dog is more than a formidable predator. It is the embodiment of solidarity, discipline, and strategy. In the shimmering water reflecting the morning sun, the spotted-necked otter appears small, agile, and almost inconspicuous. They glide across the water like a shadow, without a sound, without a ripple, as if no one has ever set foot where they pass. Don't be fooled by their cute appearance. Their curved, needle-sharp claws and strong teeth are enough weapons to make any underwater prey wary. Fish are just appetizers. The real target is hidden deep under the thick mud of freshwater crabs, with their strong claws ready to counterattack. However, the otter is an artist in the world of hunting. With skillful hands and the agility of a dancer, it closes in, controlling the crab, keeping the dangerous claws at a safe distance. One precise, decisive bite, and the sturdy armor crumbles like cardboard. At peak speed, the otter can catch nearly 1 crab per minute, an astonishing performance for a solitary and small species. But even in the world of water ghosts, competition is always present. When another individual appears on the hunting ground, everything changes immediately. No more slowness, no more patience. Speed doubles, bites are stronger, faster. The space becomes a silent battlefield where only the cleverest are rewarded. The spotted-necked otter is a living testament to the undeniable truth. In the OKAVANGO, size is not everything. Ingenuity and adaptation are the keys to survival. In northern Zambia, the Basanga swamp is a place where land and water meet. Every time the rainy season comes, the entire plain is submerged underwater, becoming a vast inland sea. But when the water recedes, a silent return takes place, and life begins to stir again. Emerging from the jungle are the rulers of this wetland, the Basanga swamp lions. For them, dry feet are impossible. Water is not a barrier, but a habitat, a battlefield. These are special lions we do not flood for their purpose. The puku and the black lechwe are both masters of the deep. In a place where few predators can pursue, the lions are the only ones strong enough to overcome the weight. To master this place, the lions have adapted perfectly. We learn to soak, hide in the reeds, and know how to take advantage of every movement of the water surface. The art of hunting here is no longer a story of chasing, but a tactical game between fighting and degradation speed. But this swamp is not only the lion, is the only hunter. Beneath the murky waters of the Basanga swamp, a world that never stands still looms. There, the Nile crocodiles hold the absolute advantage. They are in no hurry. They lie motionless for hours, submerged beneath the surface, blending into the surrounding landscape to the point of disappearing. And then, in a moment when no one can react, they emerge from the depths quickly, decisively, and precisely. To reach the richest food source, the lioness must pass through that very water. There are no shortcuts. There is no safe path. Every step is a trade-off. The water is deep, The reeds obscure the view, and below are risks that the naked eye cannot see. In the distance, a black lechwe moves silently through the tall grass. It does not know that, in the shade behind, a gaze is watching its every move. The lioness lowers her body, each step making almost no sound. Not rushing out, no rush to attack. Instead, wait, let the prey come to you. And then in a split second, a lightning-fast move will decide everything. No fuss, no delay. Speed and precision are everything. And that will result in not only much-needed nourishment after days of travel, but also the reward of feeding the three young, waiting for their mother to return. They are still young, unable to keep up with the herd, and the water environment is still new. But with each trip, with each observation, they will learn to walk through the mud, read the waves, and master this swamp like their mother. While the young lions are getting used to life in the water, another world, smaller but no less fierce, is stirring. All it takes is a heavy rain of about 50 millimeters for the heavy inhabitants of the ground to begin to awaken. The giant African bullfrog, weighing up to 1.5 kilograms, enters its breeding season. Its loud calls echo across the shallow waters, a chorus that is both an invitation and a challenge. If the sound is not enough to determine the winner, they will enter a real fight. The battle between the amphibian wrestlers is not gentle. They bite, butt, and charge at each other with all their body weight, trying to subdue the opponent with their calls, and even leaps up to 2 meters high. In their lower jaws are 3 sharp, tooth-like bones, used to end the fight without mercy. The winner wins the right to mate with more females, ensuring that their genes are passed on to the next generation. When the mating season is over, the eggs have been laid and thousands of tadpoles are entering the metamorphosis race. For about 30 days, they live on algae and organic matter in the water. But as their bodies begin to develop legs and lungs, their diet changes, and so does their diet. At this point, life in the pond becomes a vicious cycle of competition. The young begin to eat each other, not out of cruelty, but for survival. From small insects to their own kind, anything that fits their mouths can become a meal. This is a world where growing fast is the only way to survive. And in that world, even the smallest frog can become a threat to its own brothers. The wetland's intricate network of canals not only nurtures life, but also provides the perfect habitat for silent predators. The Nile crocodile, with its large body and excellent camouflage, moves easily along the silent water currents, silently following any signs of movement. Sometimes, they don't need to go anywhere. Just lie still at the edge of the water, waiting. Because sooner or later, the opportunity will come closer. Meanwhile, above the flooded ground, a pack of African wild dogs return to their familiar hunting grounds. The first sound of their footsteps was enough to alert the antelopes. And then chaos. The antelopes broke into a sprint, scattering through the mud and water, searching for a way out among the reeds. But all paths were blocked. The predators had formed a perfect circle, not needing to chase too fast, just blocking the right spot. There was no place to hide. There was no way back. A young wildebeest, cut off from its herd, faces the most difficult choice of its life. Behind it, a pack of wild dogs. Ahead, deep waters, familiar territory for Nile crocodiles. The herd stops, watching, as if holding its breath, watching its choice. To advance is risky, to turn back is risky. But if it is to survive, it must take the most dangerous path. It aims for the other side of the narrow strip of land between the reeds and begins to run. Below the surface, a dark figure approaches. Just a moment. One approach, one bite is enough. And then, the water calms. The predators on land are silent. No one dares to enter. The water now belongs to the silent one at the bottom. Far to the south, in the floodplains of Lua, Zambia, where the sky is wide open and the grass stretches like a giant green carpet, 3 cheetah brothers are on the move. No need to stalk, no need to hide in the tall grass. They are true speed runners born to run, and run to survive. The alliance between the 3 adult males has turned them into a hunting team that excels at coordination, endurance, and speed combined into a surprisingly effective strategy. In this open land, where there is no cover, speed is both a shield and a sword. They quickly spot a herd of wildebeest moving in the distance. A young individual breaking away from the group. No need for elaborate planning. No need to surround. They just need the right moment and enough space to break away. In a few short seconds, the chase is over. Everything happened so fast that the herd of antelopes did not even realize the danger was near. However, even the most superior creatures cannot avoid the most basic needs of life. In the heat of the dry season, they need water like everyone else. But the path to the water's edge is not safe. The muddy channels flooded with lifeblood of the delta are also familiar ambushes for Nile crocodiles. Hidden under the murky brown water, they are like stealth submarines. Not a sound, not a movement, until the last moment. Although the cheetah has superior vision on land, underwater is unfamiliar territory. One of the 3 brothers crossed first, and then nothing. No sound, no trace. Only 2 stood on the bank, silently watching the rippling water, where the journey had been familiar. From then on, each crossing became more difficult. Each glance into the water was filled with caution. But they could not stop. There was no time to grieve. There was no place to hide. The instinct to survive was stronger than fear, and the bond was stronger than loss. They kept going. They kept hunting. Because in the short grass, the wind, and the distant herds of antelope, there was still a chance. There was still hope. As the dry season begins to blanket the Okavango Delta in a golden dust, water becomes the most precious resource. In the lowlands where water remains, life continues, albeit more slowly, more heavily. A mother warthog leads her cubs to shallow water to cool off, choosing a place that seems less dangerous to rest. She wallows in the mud, enjoying the rare coolness that remains in the sweltering day, completely unaware that from a distance, the eyes of others are watching. A lioness is approaching silently, step by step. But she's not alone. The other members of the herd have dispersed, each hiding in tall grass or the shade of trees. Not a sound, not a sign of warning. The whole group seems to have blended into the landscape of the invisible, but close in Okavango. The warthog continues to wallow in the mud, ignoring all caution, until it was too late. Only when the first blades of grass moved and a faint sound came from behind did it realize. There was no time to think, only action. Despite its bulk, the warthog was a creature of surprises. In a split second, it accelerated, breaking away from the danger zone at speeds of up to 50 kilometers per hour almost immediately. Mud splashed, grass collapsed, dust billowed behind, and the lions were now too far behind to catch up. The hunt was lost, and for the predators, that meant another day without food. Undaunted, the lions quietly retreated. The journey continued. There was more grass ahead. More opportunities might arise. And they would not give up because that was how nature worked. To keep searching, to keep learning, and never to stand still. When the first rains of the season hit Botswana's Legnanti swamp, the landscape changes almost overnight. The dry savanna disappears, giving way to a vast sea of soggy, slippery mud. What was once a hindrance to most species has become the perfect playground for the best adapted. And no one takes advantage of this opportunity more effectively than the spotted hyenas. With their characteristic forward-leaning gait, they stride confidently across the slushy ground as if it were made for them. As one of the main predators in this land, they control the most valuable water points, which are both cooling and temporary storage of raw meat hidden under the cold mud. Although often mistaken for being scavengers, hyenas are in fact persistent and methodical hunters, especially the alpha females. The true leaders of the clan often lead the way on each hunt. With extraordinary endurance, they can follow their prey for kilometers without slowing down. A skill that can only be compared to wild dogs. Today, the noisy hunting grounds, a lone female cheetah was moving silently through the wet grasslands. Earlier, she had carefully hidden her two weak cubs in a hidden bush where they could protect them from predators for a short time. And now, the hunt began. Unlike hyenas that travel in packs or wild dogs that have coordinated tactics, cheetahs are solitary hunters. There is no support. There are no distractors. Everything depends on silence, precision, and perfect calculation in each move. But in the wet season, the low grasslands are bare. The terrain is flooded, and there is not a single tree canopy to provide cover. In the sunlight, the spotted fur that effectively camouflages the bushes now stands out against the patchy wet ground. Normally, the weak are left behind. But this time, it was different. The mother calf did not retreat. Not choosing the easier path, she turned and moved forward. With all her protective instincts, she held her position against the predators. A young member of the wild dog pack, due to her lack of experience, approached too early and was met with a fierce reaction. Fortunately, the soft mud prevented it from being injured. But today's lesson would follow it for the rest of its life. From a distance, the puppies observed the whole process. No interference, no omissions. They were learning not from theory, but from the natural world they would soon enter. After the situation stabilized, the food was divided equally. No fighting, no conflict. The puppies were given priority for the most digestible and nutritious part. Because in the community of this species, the bond was maintained from generation to generation. In this wetland life cycle, adaptability is a prerequisite for survival. It takes more than strength. It takes patience, skill, and persistent coordination. No one goes alone. No one is left behind. And that is why wild dogs, although not the strongest, always have a firm foothold in this harsh ecological picture. The video ends here. If you find it interesting, please give us a like and subscribe so we can be motivated to release the latest videos. Thank you.